Now, the 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Brought to you by Burkins Chevrolet. If you're from GA or FLA, you should be driving a Burkins Chevrolet. Come on.
Hit it. Come on!
Do you have any suggestions on what I should do for the anniversary? Any special surprises maybe you were going to pull on BWR that I could steal your mojo on?
Probably should have had those planned by now.
Yeah, I don't need your judgment.
Or maybe should have done something this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, well, does going out to dinner every day's the anniversary now that I think about it. Who are we kidding? Huh? The whining and dining that goes on with that woman.
What if you jumped out of a cake?
That wouldn't be good at all. Yeah.
What if I jumped out of a cake?
Everyone loses with that one. Yeah, everyone's a loser. All right, listen. You know this if you've ever been talked to that way, or if your kids may think this about you. Often it's not what you say; it's how you said it.
Yes.
This is why Tom Coughlin isn't going to get penalized by the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't what he said; it was how he said it that bothered people. There was nothing in what Tom Coughlin said that can bring any sanctions. That's ridiculous. There was no threat made. There was no, but it was how he said it. You know. Play Tom Coughlin again one more time and let this go. And I bring it up because Jalen obviously responded. He's not the type to just sit quietly in Nashville and go about his merry way. But here's Tom Coughlin, just one more time.
All our players should be here, building the concept of team, working hard side by side, constructing our bond of togetherness, formulating our collective priorities and goals.
All right, that's enough. It's just so dictatorial and angry, right? Listen. I've been doing this a long time. It's been my experience. I won 2 championships, and you can't rest on those. It's been my experience. Championship teams have a togetherness that would have everyone here for these types of things. And I know these guys are great players, yada, yada, but that's,
It's kind of not how he said it,
That's
right?
not right. It's not what he said. I think it's how he said it.
Well, he could have added, last year we were Super Bowl favorites, and you guys sort of decided who was coming and who was going, and how did that work? Let's go back to trying it our way now.
I get it. Right.
I see both sides. I do. It's a tough deal. If I were and again, this is not high on their list, but it does get frustrating if something is voluntary, but you want it to be mandatory. And so if you almost as a player, you want to say, okay, the next time we do the CBA, we're not going to do voluntary and mandatory. You tell us when we have to be there and when we don't have to be there.
You also have to be careful, like if you're his agent. Jalen's exactly where Jalen needs to be during the offseason, spending time with young daughter and family while training his hometown. All right, well, okay, you better not be at, round 2, Sixers, Bucks then.
Well, yeah,
you know what I
that.
mean? That kind of thing.
And there's also the fact that maybe there's something going on in Jalen's life that he needs to be in Nashville for. That could be. You just don't know. So it is what it is. But I'll tell you the one, and I'll wrap it up with this: the nonsensical notion that, he's never going to stay here. Let me tell you something. If you put the bag of gold in front of the player,
which they will,
we'll be glad to accept the bag of gold and move on. So it is what it is in that respect. So we'll move on from that. We got the draft coming up this week. That's what's going on in the National Football League. NBA playoffs have sort of kind of settled in the respect that there aren't going to be any upsets unless maybe San Antonio. And I don't even know what Portland OKC is. Is that an upset?
No, Portland's the 3 seed.
Okay, Portland's the 3 seed. Yeah. But the question that I'll ask you is Billy Donovan going to get fired if they go out?
I wonder what effect Russell Westbrook has on you in person.
Yeah.
Sitting a few thousand miles away watching Russell Westbrook on television, I can't stand him. I'm so polarizing with him. I appreciate how hard he plays, and I appreciate Paul George loves him. But this rocking the baby nonsense and telling Damian Lillard, an accomplished pro, that he too little. What is this trash talk, Russ? Can we make the finals one year before we act like we're God's gift to basketball because we run helter-skelter up and down the court just like a maniac?
Yeah.
Which statistically is effective. But obviously there's something missing from the Russell Westbrook leadership gene. He's had good teams, and they can't get out of their own way. Billy Donovan. I
think it's 3 straight years.
I don't know. Maybe.
First round exit?
Maybe.
That team's too good to go out in the first round this year.
Well, they have 2 good players, that's for sure. And I wonder.
The big fella's a good player, too.
It's okay.
They got some good role players. They're too good to be going out in the first round. I know it's the West.
Well, the problem is they're a 6 seed.
Well,
Then
this
they
would
need
make-
to be better. They need to be better than a 6 seed if they're
Yeah.
going to be too good to go out in round one. Because
This would make 3 straight.
yeah.
and the Blazers are a good team. The Blazers are better than them.
Well,
I
don't
think.
know.
So-
oof, 3 straight years in the first round.
Is anything happen in the postseason? Forget any first round upsets, but has anything happened in the playoffs that has changed your mind on anything?
Yeah, beware the Celtics, I think, is about the best thing. I think the first round doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But, and I'll be honest with you, I've had a hard time. The highlight of the first round to me is I happened to catch the end of the Nets-Sixers game with my son on Saturday afternoon, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet him $1 that the Sixers would win. Because he says, the Nets are going to win this. I go,
Teach
"No,
them to
they're
gamble
not."
early is always a good strategy.
So I took $1 off of him. I thought that was nice. So
Nice.
that was kind of a big
Joel,
highlight.
I have a couple other observations. My love-hate with Russell Westbrook is on the hate. I just hate seeing a guy mock, a player who's just as good or better than him in Damian Lillard. So that annoyed me. And Lillard came back in game. I knew they were going to win last night because of how Russ acted game 3, like a jackass. And then so that's one observation. And the second one is Joel Embiid, who you don't watch all. He's a thug, dude. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's not jokey. It's not laughy. He's gonna hurt somebody. He's a menace.
Who,
So
Embiid?
yeah, Embiid should have been. He should have gotten a flagrant 2, one of these, 8 haymakers that he throws at guys' head, and he should have been suspended. Here's the scary thing: is he sat a game and they're still up 3-1.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Although
by
the
way.
Nets are, the Nets got nothing. I mean, I have a friend who's a Nets fan. I mean, God bless him. That team's what? That team is like perennially a 6 seed as constructed.
First off, breaking news.
A Nets fan.
A Nets fan
Yeah.
has been cited.
Former season ticket holder, Hick.
Wow.
What do you make of that?
That's crazy. The Nets?
Correct. The
Nets. You could have been a Nets fan when Doc was playing there, as in Julius Erving.
He was a Nets fan when they went to the most forgettable back-to-back trips to the finals in history belong to the Nets.
Yeah. Was that Iverson?
No, he played for the Sixers.
Who was it?
No, they
They
lost.
had
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd, Richard Jefferson.
Kerry Kittles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back-to-back finals, Hick. Not just 1, 2.
Oof.
Hard to
Oof.
believe.
Yeah, that's no good. Christian Yelich almost hit another home run yesterday. Did hit a home run.
Are they playing the Cardinals again?
He was robbed. There's some odd stats, like they're all at home, but they played a lot of their games at home. But the bottom line is this. I sit here, and I don't want to go back to the Marlins, who I think won their first series of the year by taking 2 out of 3 from the Nats, which I enjoy. But Christian Yelich, at a bargain price, is a great baseball player now and has been doing it for longer than a year and has 13 home runs already this season.
He's off to an unbelievable start. I mean, there's a few players that are, but Yelich, I'll give the Brewers credit. I mean, Yelich was a nice player.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't this. I mean, when he was with the Marlins, he was a nice player. There was no indication he was going to be an MVP.
Oh, I disagree.
Well,
because I'm going to tell you why. Because he came through here, and I did a lot of work. I followed Christian Yelich, okay? He was a first-round draft pick. He was taught. I had heard that he was capable of winning a batting crown. That was always told to me. They always said he was a 5-tool guy. They could do everything well. You're right in the respect of the numbers themselves, but he was more of a 20-homer, 100 RBI guy, 90 RBI guy to me with Miami. And then he took off in Milwaukee, but he took off at the age of 26. So it's not like, he started young.
it's hard, though, if you're Miami, and in 2017 you have Yelich. You played him 156 games. He had 282 with 18 homers. He goes the next year to Milwaukee, and in 147 games, hits 326 with 36 homers. So I'm sure if you're the Marlins, you feel a little bit like, well, I mean,
why didn't you do that
what
here?
gives, right? So,
but again, under a friendly team contract, that's the bigger difference here.
I don't understand what Derek Jeter and the Marlins are doing. I think that's
because our shrimp aren't exactly tearing it up. You would think 2 years into Project Wolverine, you'd at least have enough of the minor league dudes who are dominating at those levels.
Well, What about the baby cakes? I hate to see you forget them in New Orleans.
I haven't forgotten the baby cakes.
Yeah. The Georgia Bulldogs held their spring game this weekend.
Okay.
Look, I think if you point at any uncertainty, now I know they lost a bunch of receivers, but Georgia has become running back U, right? I mean,
yeah.
I think we don't give enough credit. You know, Georgia in back-to-back years has had 2 guys rush for 1,000 yards.
Oh, yeah.
That's
never been done, probably.
right. I think we just well. I mean, they really have become running back U. So, you know, I know they love DeAndre Swift, and I know he's got 7.7 to carry, and I'm not worried about him. But you know, whether it's Zeus or James Cook or one of those guys, stepping up, I think that's going to have to happen for Georgia to be at its best. But I guess my question for you is, has Kirby Smart gotten the Dogs to the point where they just reload, or is this the year that we find that out? Because they've lost some significant talent the last 2 years, and they're going to lose more here on this weekend.
Well, he's only been there 3 years.
Yeah.
So, and his first year was sort of a on-the-job learning type thing. His second 2 years were outstanding. So, it looks really good, man. If you're a Georgia fan, you are fired up and feel really good about what's happening here. So, I mean, it remains to be seen. I don't think there's many. The guy can recruit. So, as long as you can recruit, you're going to have the players.
And he hadn't had that coaching dunderhead move.
I think you're going to. I think
right that you'd look for with guys.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I think you're going to tend to be more in the 10-3 range, 11-2 range at worst when you can recruit, as opposed to the 7-6, 8-5 range.
So
unless everything goes wrong,
that pretty much puts a wrap on the SEC Springs. Is this? I mean, pretty clear it's Georgia, Florida in the East, and then the third place team is a little bit behind.
What I enjoyed, and we could do this at some point, but I looked at a couple things over the weekend about the quarterbacks in the SEC and where do you put certain guys.
And Felipe Frank's probably a lot higher than Gator fan would have imagined.
Yeah, but I
can
still see him at 6 or 7 in some. Yeah,
that's worth.
I see him at 6 or 7.
That's worth further conversation.
But I mean,
for sure.
And you got a guy at Alabama who threw 43 touchdowns a year ago and had 6 picks, and he has to prove himself.
I want to get into this
incredible.
I want to get into this Oakland Raider thing too.
The Raiders.
Did you see this latest?
What, the scouts?
Sent the scouts home, not going to use them at all for leading up to the draft here these next 4 or 5 days, and then go in a, quote, different direction when they're done. By the way, this is a year the Raiders have all those picks. This is kind of an important draft.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of the, what was the movie with Brad Pitt, Moneyball?
Yes.
And they're sitting around the room with the old-time scouts,
Yes.
and he's getting annoyed.
He's getting mad. He just fires them all.
Yeah. Basically. I kind of, maybe that's what's going on in Oakland.
You're saying Mayock is like Billy Bean.
Yeah.
All right, that's the 10-minute drill.
Oh, what are we giving out today, Beef?
We're going to hook the Googans up. Speaking of the Mighty Marlins, we're going to send the Googans down to the baseball grounds with a 4-pack to go see those jumbo shrimp.
That's even better baseball than when you see them.
And we'll also hook them up with some free airport parking from usapark.net.
That's terrific.
All right, so caller number 3. Caller number 3 will take on that prize pack. We'll come back on the other side, and American television has hit a new low. Dan Hicken, I'm not sure we can come back from this one. That and more coming up next.